بسم الله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وموالاه وبعد. My dear students, today I'm going to talk about another aspect of connected speech, which is assimilation. If you remember, last time we talked about the first aspect of connected speech, which was rhythm. Today we are going to talk about assimilation, which is in Arabic called al-idgham. Actually, assimilation is another aspect of speech. It's related to the way adjacent or neighboring sounds are pronounced. You need to know that the phonemes of any word pronounced in isolation can be easily identified and realized in most cases. So, for example, if we take this word 10, I can tell that we have three phonemes: ta, na. Men, the same, we have three phonemes. Whenever they are pronounced in isolation, individually, each one is pronounced alone. But when words are pronounced continuously in connected speech, the identification and realization of phonemes might be a little bit harder and sometimes very hard. Now, going back to these two words, which are individually pronounced 10 men, 10 men. But if I pronounce these words in connected speech, especially if I'm speaking quickly, the pronunciation would be 10 men, like this one. 10 men. So, what do you think has happened here? Where is the na sound of 10? 10. It becomes 10 men. 10 men. Now, this is the result of assimilation. Now, what is assimilation? As I said a minute ago, it is an aspect of connected speech by which phonemes of neighboring words affect each other to be more alike. When we say more alike, means that the phonemes we are talking about are different in one way and another, and because of assimilation they become similar to each other. They are different, we apply assimilation rules, they become what? They become similar to each other. So we are talking about two phonemes. One is the final phoneme of the first word, which can affect or can be affected by the first phoneme of the second word. So we have the final consonant symbolized as CF, and we have the initial consonant symbolized as CI. So this is the word boundary. This is the end of the first word, and this is the beginning of the second word. So the final consonant here may affect or may be affected by the initial consonant of the second word. Now, I think with examples, inshallah, are going to find it easier, I think. Now, note, assimilation varies according to two factors. The first factor is speaking rate, and the second is style. These two variables are very important in having more or less assimilation instances in connected speech. If you are speaking quickly and casually, it means not formally, you can do more assimilation. You will have more assimilation. But when you are speaking slowly and formally, less assimilation is expected to happen. So it depends on the speaking rate, how fast we are speaking, and it depends on the style. Are we speaking formally in a formal situation, or in a casual situation. If it is formal, less assimilation is expected. But if it is casual, no. I mean less formally, speaking with friends, chatting with equals, you expect more assimilation. Okay? These are the two important variables that decide if we have more assimilation or less assimilation in our speech. Now, we have two types of assimilation which are classified in terms of the direction of the effect. We are talking about an effect. Either CF affects C1 or C1 affects CF. So this effect is of two types. Look at me please and pay attention. If CF affects CI, I mean the final consonant causes the initial consonant to change, so this is going to change, and this causes the change, this is called progressive assimilation, which is less frequent in English. We don't have so many examples about progressive assimilation in English. So you can see the direction or the direction of the effect by this arrow. It is a forward. The final affects the initial. It's a forward or progressive assimilation. The other type of effect is called regressive assimilation, and you can see in the arrow that the effect is backward, which means that the initial consonant of the second word will cause the final consonant of the first word to change. So which one is going to change? The final consonant. Which one causes the change is initial consonant. So in this case, the assimilation or the effect is a regressive one. It's a backward one, which is more frequent in English. Now, assimilation can be of three types. We said that we are talking about phonemes, consonants, which are different in one way or another, and because of assimilation they become more similar. Now, the features we have in terms of consonants are place of articulation, manner of articulation, and voicing. Assimilation can be in one of these. I mean, sometimes the two phonemes we are talking about, the two consonants, are different in the place of articulation. And when we apply assimilation, they become similar in terms of place. Sometimes they are different in manner. And when we apply assimilation, they have the same manner of articulation. They become similar in terms of manner of articulation. And sometimes the difference is in voicing. So we have voiced consonant and voiceless consonant. They are different. When we have assimilation, both of them will be voiced or both of them will be voiceless. They become similar. Now let's go back and give examples. If we are talking about place of articulation, which is very frequent in English, let's take this example. That person, that person. If I say these two words slowly, formally, I will pronounce them as that person. But if I say them in an informal conversation, quickly, the t sound is going to change to be like p sound of the word person, and the pronunciation is going to be that person, that person. The t, which is what? Which is an alveolar sound, it is an alveolar sound, becomes p, which is a bilabial sound. Why? Because of the effect of the following p of the word person. So p is bilabial, t is alveolar. They are different in terms of place of articulation. when we make assimilation, they become similar. They become both bilabial. That person, that person. Look, the final consonant is changed to be P. And this kind of assimilation is definitely regressive because P causes the T to change to be P. Okay? And another example of assimilation in manner, which is less frequent in English, by the way, but we have that example, that side. Again, if I pronounce them individually, they are pronounced as that side, that side. Now, ta is a stop sound, while sa is what? Is a fricative sound. Normally, people don't like having more consonants with high obstruction, just like stops, and the change is always to consonants with less obstruction, just like fricatives here. So we have ta sound, which is the final consonant of the word that. It is changed into sa because of the following sa, which is the first consonant of the word side, and the pronunciation becomes that side, that side. There is no ta. It becomes sa, that side, that side. So the final consonant ta, which is a stop sound, becomes sa, which is a fricative, to make the pronunciation easier and with less obstruction. This is due to the effect of the initial sa on final ta. Again, this kind of effect is regressive. It is a backward. This one causes the previous one to change. Now we have this example which is not very frequent in English, and this example is of a progressive assimilation, when the effect is towards a progressive or in a progressive direction, in a forward direction. Now, get them, ta of get and the of them. Here we should have the sound, okay, them, the sound originally. It changes into another ta, like this, and they become get them. So this ta causes the sound to change and become ta. This kind of assimilation is progressive because ta, which is the final consonant of the word get, changes the initial consonant of the word them. This is a progressive, but again, as I said, this is not a very frequent case in English. Now, assimilation in voicing. Now, if we take the word have to, now the final consonant of the word have is v, which is a voiced sound, while the second word starts with t, which is a voiceless sound. Now, because of the t, which is a voiceless sound, the v sound changes to become f. It's not a change in the place, it's not a change in the manner, it is only a change in voicing, because v is still labiodental, f is still labiodental, no change in place, no change in manner, both of them are fricative, but the change is from voiced v into voiceless f. The final consonant v, which is a voiced sound, becomes f, which is a voiceless sound due to the effect of the voiceless sound t. Again, this is a regressive assimilation. Have to. Instead of saying have to in slow formal speech, we say have to in casual informal speech. Now, we have cases of assimilation that have become fixed. Fixed means they are established now in the in the phonological structure of the English language. What are these assimilations? Now we use them spontaneously in every situation, but we don't know originally that these were pronounced in a different way, and now because of assimilation we have them like this. Actually, the two examples I'm going to give about fixed assimilation are the pronunciation of ed or d and the pronunciation of e, s or s. These two morphemes which are added or attached to verbs and nouns to change them. For example, if we talk about the ed, which is usually attached to the verb to make it in the past tense, this ed can be pronounced in three different ways. The ed or the d is pronounced de, which is a voiced sound when the word is or ends with a voiced sound. So the verb clean, for example, this verb ends with ne, which is a voiced sound. So when we add ed, this ed is going to pronounce as de, which is also voiced. So we are going to have voiced plus voiced, voiced ne and voiced de, voiced plus voiced. These are similar, voiced, voiced. But what happens if we have a voiceless sound like te? Look at the, sorry, this is the example. We can state ke, for example, because I have given walk as an example, the same thing. Ke is voiceless sound. Sorry. Yeah. So when the verb is just like walk, it ends with a voiceless sound like ke, voiceless sound. When I add the ed, I pronounce it as te, walked, walked. This one should be longer. And another way of pronouncing the ed is to say id, and this is when the verb ends with te or de, like the word want and the word or the verb add. With want we say wanted, with add we say added. Actually, this is to make the pronunciation easier. If we try to pronounce want, it's going to be difficult. Add, it's also difficult. So we need to insert a vowel here to make the pronunciation easier, and it becomes wanted and added. The same thing is applicable to the addition of es to the to nouns, or to have the third person singular of the verb. Now again, this s or es can be pronounced in three different ways. I think you can figure out the rule. Ze, when the noun ends in a voiced sound. Ka is a voiced sound. When I add the s, it becomes cause with ze, which is also a voiced sound. So is voiced, z is voiced. I cannot say cause. It should be cause, because we have a voiced sound at the end. Se, again, because the noun ends in a voiceless sound, just like cat. It becomes cats. We cannot say cats. It's cats, because this is more appropriate, more suitable, easier. Okay, so because we have ta here, which is a voiceless sound, the se is going to be, or the addition is going to be se, which is also voiceless. Now we have is. It is the third way of pronouncing the es. Here we have, if we have a sibilant sound, sibilant sounds are aswat al-safir, like sa, za, sha, ja, ta, cha, ja. Also, whenever we have one of these sounds at the end of the noun, we should pronounce it is, just like bus, buses, se. Vase or vase, we say vases or vases, both pronunciation are correct. Badge, badges, watch, watches. Okay, so we have is because again it's very difficult to say bus, bus. It's almost impossible to end the word bus or pronounce es as se or ze. We need a vowel. We need a vowel, and it becomes buses, buses, vases, badges. Okay, these examples have become very normal, very frequent in English. We don't even ask about if if we have assimilation here or not. It's almost established and fixed in the language. Now, let me end this lecture with this question. Explain the assimilation we have in the following. Now, if we have assimilation, we have here two words. Here we have assimilation within one word. Here we have assimilation within or across word boundaries, two words. Now tell me what kind of assimilation. Is it regressive or progressive? In what feature? Is it assimilation in voicing? Is it an assimilation in manner or in voicing? And explain what has happened. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you the best of luck, and bye.